The alien research ship Vorlus 9 drifted quietly near a dead star, its engines humming softly as it scanned the cold space around it. The crew on board believed this mission would be simple. They were ordered to study old debris, collect data, and return home. Nothing dangerous was expected. The dead star system had no life, no signals, and no movement for thousands of years. It was, in their eyes, a forgotten place. But that peace ended when the ship's sensors detected a strange shape floating in the dark. At first, the object looked like a broken metal box, drifting slowly near a ring of old asteroids. The crew assumed it was useless junk. But when the scanners zoomed in, they found markings that shocked them, symbols that did not belong to their species or any species in the known galaxy. The markings were human. The alien captain, a tall and thin creature named Ralturos, frowned. Humans were spoken about only in old stories. Many believed they once existed long before current civilizations rose. Some believed they were a myth. Others believed they had destroyed themselves. The truth was lost to time. Still, Ralturos felt a strange fear in his chest. But his pride pushed it aside. "Bring it on board," he ordered. The crew obeyed. Robotic arms reached out from the ship's side and gently pulled the strange human object inside. The moment it touched the ship's airlock floor, the lights flickered for a second, but no one paid attention. Inside the lab, engineers gathered around the object. It was a satellite, old and covered in scratches from countless years drifting in deep space. No power, no signal, no movement. Or so they thought. A young engineer named Selka connected a scanning cable to the satellite's side. As soon as the cable touched the device, the entire lab went silent. The satellite lit up with a weak blue glow, and strange symbols crawled across its small display screen. "Is it alive?" one of the engineers whispered. The captain entered the lab, watching the blue glow reflect off the metal walls. "Activate the translation system," he ordered. "Let us hear what humans left behind." Selka pressed a button. The satellite made a deep, old sound, as if something ancient was breathing for the first time in ages. Then, the message started. It was not a call for help. It was not a greeting. It was a warning. The message played in every language the ship's translator could understand. The voice was cold, calm, and human. "Warning. Do not activate this signal. Do not come to this system. Do not awake the Deathworlders." The aliens stared in confusion. Some laughed. Some whispered in fear. But the captain only narrowed his eyes. "What is a Deathworlder?" he asked. Elder historians on board gave the answer with trembling voices. "It is an old name," the historian said. "A name for humans. They were known as the strongest, most dangerous survivors. Their homeworld was filled with storms, sickness, predators, and disasters. Humans evolved to become almost impossible to kill." Ralturos scoffed. "Ancient legends. Nothing more. Humans are extinct." But the historian shook his head. "The stories say they slept. They hid. They waited. And this," the captain pointed to the glowing satellite. "A toy from a dead species." The moment his words ended, the satellite's glow suddenly expanded. A sharp pulse of energy burst from it, so fast no one could stop it. It shot through the ship, then through space, then through the entire star system like a ripple. The pulse connected to long-dormant beacons, to forgotten communication towers, to ancient gateways hidden in dust. Every device with old human coding woke up. And they all broadcasted the same message across the galaxy. "The Deathworlders have been summoned." The crew froze. Far away, alien governments received the message. Some dismissed it. Some panicked. Some prepared weapons. Old species, who remembered the truth about humans, felt terror rise in their chest. In the Vorlus 9 lab, the satellite gave one final message before shutting down. They will come. The lights in the room flickered. The ship's engines shook. Something massive passed behind them, so large it blocked the dead star's faint glow. Captain Ralturos looked through the observation window and saw only a giant shadow moving silently in the dark. The story that began as harmless research had just awakened something the galaxy was never meant to meet again. The alien ship Vorlis 9 remained frozen in space. No one moved. No one spoke. The crew felt the deep vibration under their feet as something enormous drifted past them in the dark. The dead star behind them dimmed as if a giant wall had moved between them and the light. Captain Ralturos ordered the observation shutters to open. As the metal plates pulled apart, the crew expected to see a planet-sized asteroid or maybe a forgotten shipwreck. But what they saw made their hearts shake. A massive object, black as night and long like a sleeping creature, floated behind their ship. It had no lights, no signals, and no visible engines. It looked dead. But the shape, the size, the silent presence. It felt alive. "What is that?" Selka whispered. No one knew. Their scanners failed to identify the object. Every attempt returned the same message. Error. Unknown construct. Unknown threat. Ralturos finally spoke. "It is nothing. Probably just old debris." But even he did not believe his words. Before they could study the object further, their long-range sensors beeped again. More signals. More movement. Small shapes, hundreds of them, drifted from behind the massive shadow. They moved slowly, like a swarm waking from sleep. Drones. At first glance, they seemed broken and harmless. Rust-colored metal. Wings torn by time. Little blinking lights that looked half dead. The aliens relaxed. But when the drones turned toward Vorlis 9, their weak blue light suddenly switched to a bright red glow. The drones' bodies unfolded like blooming flowers, revealing sharp metallic limbs and hidden weapon cores. Every drone pointed directly at the alien ship. The alarm system on board started screaming. "Defensive shields up!" Ralturos shouted. But the shields rose too late. The drones reached the ship in seconds and attached themselves like insects. Electricity crackled across the hull as they hacked into the systems with impossible speed. "It is breaching all decks," an engineer yelled. "We cannot stop them." The captain stared in disbelief. "How are they so advanced? They look broken." The historian, shaking with fear, answered. "Old human machines were never simple. They were made to survive even when half dead. A human drone does not stop working. It evolves." The drones moved with a terrifying intelligence. They cut through metal without noise. They shut down weapons without destroying them. They moved like trained soldiers. This was not random attack. It was precision. Within minutes, the ship was completely disabled. The drones did not kill anyone. They simply froze every alien with a red scanning light, recorded their faces, and moved on as if following a strict mission. Finally, one drone flew directly to the captain and projected a hologram. It was a human. Not a soft alien-like human from stories. This one had sharp eyes, a scar across his cheek, and armor that looked grown instead of built. His voice was calm. "You activated a restricted beacon. This system is not safe. Stand by." Then the hologram disappeared. Ralturos felt cold inside. This cannot be. Humans are extinct. The historian swallowed hard. No. They are something else. Something beyond what our species recorded. The crew looked out the window again and saw the giant shadow move closer. Only now did they see the truth. It was not debris. It was a ship, so old and so massive that it looked like a drifting mountain. The hull was marked with faded letters. Deathworld Command Ship, Eclipse. Selka gasped. Deathworld Command? That is real. It existed? Yes, the historian whispered. Humanity's elite. The strongest of the strong. Only the harshest survivors became part of it. The Eclipse ship opened huge vents along its sides, releasing waves of cold mist into space. Hundreds of pods, glowing faint blue, extended outward like the ship was stretching after a long sleep. And then, the pods opened. Humans stepped out. Their bodies were tall, muscular, shaped by gravity far stronger than any alien world. Their faces were calm but terrifying, not because of anger, but because they carried the quiet confidence of creatures who had faced death many times and won. Ralturos finally understood. They had not awakened human soldiers. They had awakened Deathworlders, the legendary humans who had survived on planets no alien could walk on. The drones retreated toward the Eclipse ship. The humans turned their glowing eyes toward the alien vessel, silent, watching, judging. The captain whispered, almost unable to breathe. What have we awakened? The answer came from the Eclipse ship itself. Its giant engines flickered to life, lighting the darkness with a cold blue glow. Humanity had returned. And the aliens were not ready. The alien ship Vorlis 9 floated helplessly, held in place by the swarm of human drones. Every system was offline. Every weapon disabled. The crew felt like they were trapped inside a glass jar, able to see everything outside, but powerless to change anything. Outside the windows, the ancient human command ship Eclipse continued to awaken. Massive plates on the hull shifted slowly, releasing clouds of frozen vapor into the void. Strange blue veins of light spread across the ship's massive surface, as if its metal skin carried a heartbeat. Captain Ralturos watched in silence. He had never seen anything so old yet so alive. What are they preparing? Selka whispered. No one answered. Then a deeper sound shook the space around them. A heavy, echoing pulse, like something huge was moving inside the ship. The drones stopped all activity at once and floated back toward the Eclipse in perfect formation. Moments later, the ship opened. A gigantic hatch slid apart, revealing a dark, glowing interior. Within it, a massive structure slowly descended, like a platform carrying something sacred. Ralturos pressed his face closer to the glass. His bones turned cold. Humans. Not one or two. Hundreds. Each one wearing armor that looked bonded to their skin, glowing faint blue, carved with marks from battles lost to time. Their eyes reflected cold steel. Their movements were calm, controlled, and confident, like predators designed for survival. But the most frightening part was not their weapons. It was their silence. They did not shout. They did not roar. They simply prepared. The historian on the alien ship trembled. These are not normal humans. These are Deathworld commanders. The strongest humans from the old ages. They trained on planets with storms of acid, gravity that crushed cities, and oceans full of killers. Ralturos swallowed. But why come now? Why awaken now? The historian slowly turned to him. Because we called them. The human formation began marching toward rows of drop pods inside the Eclipse. The ground beneath them glowed brighter with every step. Huge engines of the pods activated, quiet but powerful. Each pod was large enough to hold 20 humans. And there were hundreds of pods. Selka whispered, they are preparing for war. But against who? Us. No one had an answer. Suddenly, a new ship appeared on the sensors, then another, then another. Alien warships. Dozens of them, belonging to the Acrian Empire, emerged from hyperspace, forming a ring around the Eclipse. The Acrian Empire was known for its power, arrogance, and enormous military force. Their flagship sent out a broadcast. Unidentified vessel. You are in restricted territory. Prepare to surrender or face destruction. Ralturos nearly collapsed. The Acrian Empire had no idea what they were facing. The eclipse did not reply. Instead, its hull lights shifted from soft blue to deep red. The air around the ancient ship vibrated. The alien crew felt the pressure even through their dead systems. Selka whispered, "Why red? What does that mean?" The historian closed his eyes. "It means humans are now in combat mode." On the alien empire's flagship, the commander laughed. "One old ghost ship. Destroy it." Their warships launched hundreds of missiles, laser beams, energy bolts, and plasma shots, all directed at the eclipse. The eclipse did not move. The attacks hit its hull, and vanished. The energy simply dissolved into the ship's skin as though it swallowed the blasts. No shields. No defenses. It did not need them. For the first time, the Acrian commander's voice shook. Impossible. Inside the eclipse, the drop pods activated. A single human commander stepped forward. His armor was covered with white stripes, marks of highest rank. His eyes were brighter than the others, glowing with a strange energy. He spoke only one line. Objective, neutralize threat. Do not kill unless needed. The pods shot out of the eclipse in a storm of blue fire. They moved faster than anything the Acrian Empire had ever seen. The alien crew of Vorlis 9 watched as the drop pods slammed into the enemy warships, without exploding. Instead, they cut through armor like paper, releasing Deathworlder soldiers inside the enemy vessels. In minutes, chaos filled the alien fleet. But it was a silent chaos. Humans moved like shadows, disabling weapons, breaking engines, and capturing entire ships without firing a single shot. The Acrian Empire panicked, firing wild shots that destroyed their own vessels more than the humans. Selka stared at the window, her eyes wide. They are unstoppable. Ralturos whispered, they are not monsters. They are something much worse. They are trained survivors. The eclipse slowly turned toward the battle, its engines lighting the darkness like a rising sun. Humanity had returned. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The battlefield around the ancient human ship Eclipse looked unreal. What began as a confident attack by the Acrian Empire had turned into silent chaos. Their warships drifted in broken pieces, engines flickering, weapons dead. And yet, very few lives were lost. It was not destruction. It was correction. Inside their disabled ship, the crew of Vorlis 9 watched in silence. None of them dared speak. They witnessed something no species in the galaxy had ever truly understood. Humans did not fight to kill. They fought to end the threat. And they were better at it than anyone. Dropships of Deathworlder soldiers moved across the battlefield like ghosts. They entered enemy vessels, disarmed crews, disabled engines, and left without a single shot wasted. Where alien soldiers panicked and fired wildly, humans remained calm, calmer than darkness itself. For the Acrian Empire, this was a nightmare. For the galaxy, it was a message. For the crew of Vorlis 9, it was a lesson in humility. Inside the Vorlis ship, alarms beeped as one of the human drones floated back. It projected a hologram again, the same scarred human man, cold eyes glowing blue. This time, he spoke directly to Captain Ralturos. You activated an old beacon. You disturbed a restricted system. Explain. Ralturos felt his legs weaken, but he forced himself to stand straight. We did not know what it was. We believed humans were extinct. The hologram stared at him. No blink. No emotion. Only a deep silence. Finally, the human spoke again. We were not extinct. We were resting. Every alien on the bridge felt a chill. The historian stepped forward slowly. Why did humanity hide? Why leave the galaxy? The hologram looked at him, and for a moment, the coldness softened, just a little. Because we were tired of war. We were tired of saving a galaxy that only feared us. The aliens exchanged confused looks. This was not the human monster they imagined. This was something else. Something sad. Something powerful. The human continued. So we built the Eclipse. We built Guardians. We left warnings. Selka whispered, almost too quietly, and we woke them. The hologram nodded. Now we must clean the mess you pulled us into. Another shockwave shook the battlefield. The Acrian Empire's last surviving dreadnought desperately turned to escape, but the Eclipse moved in front of it with impossible speed. Its red combat lights vanished, replaced by calm blue light once again. A voice from the Eclipse broadcasted. Acrian vessel. You will surrender. No more blood needs to be spilled. The Acrian commander refused. We will never bow to Deathworlders. The Eclipse responded by simply disabling their engines and towing the massive dreadnought like a child pulling a toy. There was no fight left. Only surrender. Back on Vorlis 9, Captain Ralturos finally spoke again, voice shaking. What will you do with us? The hologram of the human commander stepped closer. Your people brought danger to this system. But you are not war criminals. You made a mistake. Relief washed over the crew, until the hologram continued. But you must repair what you damaged. And you must warn others. No more signals. No more exploration here. This system is mine to guard. The crew nodded quickly. No one dared question him. Then, for the first time, something changed in the human's cold expression. His eyes dimmed, almost human again, not glowing, not sharp. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We want to protect it. But if we are awakened, we fight. With those final words, the hologram faded. Outside, the Eclipse gathered its drones and soldiers. The captured Acrian ships were pushed away and left powerless. The battlefield grew quiet again, lit only by soft blue lights coming from the ancient human vessel. Slowly, the Eclipse turned around, its engines glowing brighter and brighter. Ralturos watched in awe. Where are they going? The historian answered softly. Back to sleep, until someone else makes the same mistake we did. The Eclipse vanished into a wormhole, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. And for the first time in thousands of years, the stars whispered one message. Do not wake the Deathworlders again.